Hello, everybody. For someone interested in understanding mental functions, the natural sciences are of great help. Natural sciences describe physical laws that are also mental mechanisms. Perhaps the material and the immaterial are connected somewhere. It might also be true that immaterial things manifest in the material world. For example, when we fall emotionally, this fall is easy, like how easily a stone falls to the ground, while climbing up requires effort, similar to carrying our grocery bag to the third floor without an elevator. Physics describes order, the natural order of things. It gives you confidence since it describes the laws upon which material reality is built. It seems that the builders of this reality first established the laws and then, by applying them, created the environment in which we live. The very good characteristic of physics is that it leaves no room for doubt. When you throw a ball against the wall will send it back to you. Action and reaction. If you shoot at the target, the bullet will penetrate it, provided it has small solid mass and high speed, which creates penetration ability. And from what I see, anything that removes you from the state of doubt has a positive effect. What is the state of doubt but a gray, swampy area? A place where you get stuck because you can't decide on something. People who study the natural order gain certainty. Their doubts decrease, they become more orderly, and their mental state improves as well. You don't find many of them in institutions for mentally unstable people. I would say they are the overwhelming minority. And who hasn't benefited from the development of the natural sciences, either directly or indirectly, to a small or a large extent? It doesn't even matter if the physical laws in their entirety are absolutely correct or not, if they apply at this level of reality and not at another. Absolutes are unattainable anyway. Some laws apply to the microcosm, for example, but not to the macrocosm. It's the fact that they emerge from doubt that positively impacts their mental health. To a certain extent, this effect is positive, and this is the point of balance between dedicating part of your attention to observing the physical universe and not neglecting to also dedicate part of your attention to what is happening in your life. The physical universe is the game platform, and my life is the actual game. So, we have here the factor of predictability in action. A good level of predictability provides us and those around us with the necessary ground to stand on and build what we want. I said before that life is the game, and like any game, it needs rules, freedoms and limits, opposing purposes, known and unknown factors, and a place to play it. Without these essential elements, no life game can exist or be played. The known and unknown factors as elements of the game need to be in some balance. The known factors bring order, and the unknown ones contribute to the initial interest in participating in the game. Imagine your friends inviting you to a poker game, and you knew in advance everything that would happen in every detail. Would you go? Now imagine they invite you to a poker game without telling you for sure where it will be, when it will be, how long it will approximately last, or anything else you need to know from the start to decide if you will go or not. And you go at 6 o'clock, 3 others go tomorrow at 7, and some others went yesterday and found no one else to play with. Our body has great difficulty living in chaotic conditions without a good degree of predictability, at least for sleep and meal times. Your family will suffer if you don't provide some vital, stable data, like how much money we can spend each month, what are our behavior rules, a basic plan for the week, and room for possible changes. It will equally suffer if you demand everything to be perfect and predictable down to the smallest detail, something that would reach the limits of oppression. Setting order in your home, workplace, family, mind is essential, but trying to impose order in another person's area of influence and responsibility is a violation, and believe me, very annoying, unless you are asked to. The only way to live life is to have order. Nature knows this very well. To create an organism, organic or inorganic, first of all, it puts the particles that will participate in this creation in order and establishes the lines of communication between them. Order and communication, therefore, the most fundamental elements for anything to exist. They are placed and maintained throughout the life cycle of the thing. Why does a bomb cause such destruction? In a beautiful neighborhood, a bomb falls, and afterward we have a pile of stones scattered here and there. The particles are still there, they haven't disappeared, but they lost their order and lines of communication, so the material objects can no longer have their previous identity, and naturally neither can their function. There is a nice definition of order. You can also create definitions for things and concepts that interest you. Do it freely, as it helps in understanding. Order is having the things you need in their place and ready for use. The more action we have in a space, the more we need to have and maintain order. For example, the bedroom doesn't need order to the degree that the kitchen does. It needs it to a lesser degree. The bed must be in the same place when you go to lie down, especially when the light is off. When we say place, we of course mean place in the space. Before anything exists, space must be created for it. A being, a creator, a person, or a god, as you prefer, first creates space and then places matter and energy in it. Just like you, first you rent an apartment to have the space, and then you put your things in it. The place is what you have designated, and it would be good to designate a place for everything you own. Otherwise, it will have to occupy the place of another thing, disrupting the order of the other thing. Have you noticed what happens when two cars collide? Both try to occupy the same space at the same time. But this is prohibited by physical law. Two objects cannot occupy the same space at the same time. When this happens, they will no longer be two cars, but a mass of metals, glasses, wires, and tires, something completely different from our original beautiful little cars. The same applies to the roles we play in life. In a relationship or marriage, there is only one place for the spouse role, and if a second man enters, he won't have his own place, and the whole issue will violate the rules of the game, causing a problem. In place of a happy marriage, we will have a sad situation. Order has to do with what was agreed to be the rule of the game. As long as the rule is followed, the game continues smoothly as long as there is interest and purpose. We could say there is a smooth operation of the game. If we now talk about the self, about you, what do you need to know about your own existence to feel good? What is the balance point between unknown and known factors that would be good for you at this moment? What are your views, that is, your personal rules about your personal role and life game, which you set sometime in the past and still apply, likely beyond and below your awareness, meaning you can no longer recognize them, re-examine them, see if they fit the current conditions or maybe they need revision. You know, the views we have today are truly decisions we made in the past and remain in our mental space until now. Some are intact, others may have mutated, and others have merged with the views of other people, like companies merging. All things can be placed on scales from to. From 0 to 100 or any other numbering you like. Not at all, very much, white, black, and all the infinite intermediate shades of gray. This is the multi-valued logic, which is much more perfect than the binary logic of black and white. And of course, much more perfect than the single-valued logic of one and only one datum. The reason why multi-valued logic is great is that it helps us compare this with that, the situation of yesterday with the situation of today, the degree of progress or decline, so that we understand what is happening. We always need at least 2 data points concerning a situation, 2 data points of similar order of magnitude, to compare them to gain knowledge about the situation. Sweet is compared to bitter, up to down, inside to outside. The order-chaos scale is linked to the known-unknown scale. How much order? How much known? And the opposite, which is how much chaotic, how much unknown. Life, knowledge, order are connected and collaborate. I will tell you what will happen if you tolerate another person being close to you and bringing chaos into your space. Your ability to create and your ability to live will gradually decrease. I'm not saying to start driving your people away. Keep them if they have a good heart and if you like or love them, but do something to raise the order together. Make agreements on all issues that concern you, material, managerial, behavior issues, freedoms and restrictions, everything. Then keep the agreements you made. The agreements must have the logic of serving life. If an agreement proves not to serve life or that it served life when conditions were different but not anymore, this must be communicated and new agreements made. It would be good, of course, to relate to people we can communicate with, as communication is as necessary as breathing. The difference is that if you don't breathe, you die quickly, while if communication is lacking, what you co-created dies slowly but steadily. Our own body, if we think about it, it is an open system of energy that constantly interacts, that is, communicates with its environment, and breathing is one of the mechanisms of this interaction. If we want to see what's the best way to establish and maintain order by working alone or for it or together with others, I would say that the simplest and most effective is simply to put order and continue to put order and continue to put order until we are satisfied. Until you look at the result and say, oh, how nice it is now. No need to pay attention to disorder. We can ignore it entirely and just continue to put order. It's like turning on the light. You don't concern yourself with how much darkness is in the room. You just turn on the light and the darkness will no longer be there, magically disappearing. If you want to collaborate with another person to create order in your shared space, or if you are helping someone create order in his space, as long as they asked for your help, do not refer at all to why and how and when and for how long they had created disorder. Life is created now and truly only exists in the now. If a pillow was on the wrong sofa for the last 100 years, it would take the same amount of time and effort to put it on the correct sofa as it would if it had only been on the wrong sofa since yesterday. Use all your attention to create order and none to empower the existing disorder. During the process of establishing order, you need to tolerate disorder without give to it any significance. And I can assure you that this is an excellent ability, the lack of which makes people unable even to conceive that they will ever put order to the chaos they have created. I would prefer not to give any examples of this type, as you all have plenty. Very often, as we begin to create order, we discover more disorder than initially seemed to be there. Do not be discouraged by this phenomenon. It means that your ability to create order has increased, and for this reason, you now perceive other disorders that were there but were not noticeable by you before. Perception reaches as far as our confrontation does. As you continue to work with sincerity and positivity, the moment will come when you see your work completed. And I already see a broad smile on your face, that of personal satisfaction that you have achieved something you wanted, and you now know that you are more capable than ever before.